Hello, this is Tori, and this is my second video. And today I want to talk about the finances of being unemployed. And I specifically want to cover the topics of how I'm dealing with food, clothing, shelter, and transportation and entertainment. So how am I handling those finances? Well, when I was on unemployment, it was about $500 a week, and that ran out. It was a total of about 15K, but that's not a lot to me because when I was working, I was making about 5 digits a month, and quite frankly, my taxes and insurance take up almost all of that 15K. In fact, my tax bill is, I have it right next to me, is $10,481, $82. $10,482 due at the end of next month. And you throw the insurance on top of that for the house, and that takes up almost all of that money. So how was I making it along the way? Well, in terms of, start off with food. And well, before I get into that, let me back up and talk about where I get a lot of my philosophy. And it's from a man called Dave Ramsey. I remember on a couple TV shows and even in casual conversations with folks, sometimes you would hear people say, well, if you can't afford it, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. The truth is, Dave Ramsey, and I heard him say this months ago, his real estate portfolio, just his real estate, is worth over $600 million. And I know he invests in real estate that he pays cash for. So all of that $600 million of real estate, free and clear. And he invests in growth stock mutual funds. So I wouldn't be surprised if at this point he isn't some low-key billionaire. And he has said that he doesn't pay retail for anything. When he goes to buy clothes, he wants a discount. Obviously, when he buys real estate, he's looking for a discount. And so I don't feel so bad about looking for discounts on just about everything, including food. And today is Thursday. It's the first day after Thanksgiving, the first day after Christmas. But really, it's the first day of the new week of sales at the grocery stores that I go to. At Kroger and H-E-B, they start their new sales for the week every Wednesday, but since Wednesday was Christmas Day, that begins today. And I may go through some of the things I'm planning on getting when that starts, but I buy everything on sale if I can. I look at what the produce is going to be on sale, and this week coming up is going to be some brisket that I'm interested in. USDA prime brisket at $3.99 a pound. Some large avocados at 77 cents each. I believe the red grapes are 77 cents a pound. There's some sales on navel oranges and some other things that I may get into, but I may even show you what's in my freezer that I've bought. Even though I'm tight on money, I'm not having pancakes and hot dogs every day. And it's because I've been listening to Dave Ramsey for about 10 years. One of the things that has allowed me to have some breathing room is about 9 years ago, I paid off the house that I was living in. So I haven't had a mortgage payment since then. I got married after paying off that house 2 years later. And I had all the equity in my home. She had most of the equity in hers. And we bought a house together, one payment plan. Went to closing and didn't know anything. When that relationship went sideways, I retained that house since I paid for most of it, and eventually sold it 2 years later and moved back here to Texas, bought this house, one payment plan. So although the taxes and insurance are about 4 digits a month, which is more than what I was paying in rent when I had an apartment, I don't have mortgage on top of that or rent. So that helps a lot. But also the habits that got me into being able to pay off the house. I mean, I've had a lot of different challenges with employment over the years. I've missed a lot of paychecks, and yet I was still able to pay for that first house in about 9.5 years. And so that has given me breathing room, and I'm thankful and blessed about that beyond measure. So that kind of covers some of the shelter that I was going to cover, a little bit of the food, but I want to go deeper into the food and do a little show and tell. On the transportation, I have a Chevy Equinox that I bought in 2011, brand new at the time. This is before I knew about Dave Ramsey. It's a 2012 model, so I've had it 13 years. It has about 190 something thousand miles on it. But most people, when they sit in my car, they don't think it looks that old. And that's because it was a significant purchase for me. So I try to maintain. It's easier for me to maintain something than it is for me to continue to replace it. So that's what I do. I learned from my father how to take care of shoes, dress shoes. So once your feet stop growing, you can take care of shoes and they can last you quite a bit. I have some some shoes that might be older than some people watching these videos, just because I was able to take care of them. And you can replace heels or soles if you really like the pair of shoes, and I know how to shine them up. But anyway, yeah, the car is about 13 years old, but it still passes inspection. In fact, it went through inspection last month. It still has an audio port. It has, the windows go up and down, the AC works and the heat works. And it looks good. So I'm glad I have that paid off. Because quite frankly, last year when I got the car inspected and an oil change, it was at the dealership, the Chevy dealership. And while I was waiting for that work to get done, I went to the new car section to see what things cost. And I was like, good grief, why does a pickup truck cost 6 figures? Why does a Chevy Tahoe cost 6 figures? This is crazy. And it's better on the used market, but I mean, especially I live not far from the DFW metro area, so there's a lot of people here that the inventory for used might be higher here than in other places, so that gives some options. And I've looked, I'm planning ahead. If my car were totaled today, what could I get that's reasonable? And there are some options out there, thankfully. But for now, I don't have that as a problem. I do have a vehicle that's 190 something thousand miles. I don't know how further an Equinox will go, but we're hoping for 250,000. On the food, I really do want to do some show and tell on that, but I don't want to break away from this setup until that's kind of last. But food, clothing, shelter. Let's talk about entertainment. I used to have Amazon Prime as a subscription, but I believe it was earlier this year, around March, they started adding in commercials to the video content. And I thought, man, I've already paid for the whole year. Why don't they just grandfather me in? I felt like that was a customer service blunder that I'm not used to getting from Amazon. They're known for having pretty good customer service, and I thought that was somewhat of a customer service blunder to just throw that in after I'd already paid for the whole year. So I left them. They refunded me a good portion of the money that I paid for the year. And I just used their freebie service. I have plenty of content there. Roku. I use an antenna for the local channels. As I said, in the Dallas market, so as a Cowboy fan, I can catch all of their games, whether they're on Monday Night Football, Sunday night on some premium channel. They'll be on a local channel here, so I can catch their stuff. And that's what I do for, at least television entertainment. Early on in unemployment, when I didn't think it would last this long, I did go to a concert to see CeCe Winans in person, and I went to a cooking class. So that was some entertainment. I've done some volunteer work for a fraternity that I'm in, working concessions at some Little League games. And, I exercise inside the house or go for jogs and walks in the neighborhood. That's low expense. And let's talk about clothing since I'm talking about exercising. Most of the clothing I bought in the past year has all been fitness related. And it's all come from either Kohl's or Walmart, really. This shirt, Walmart, like $6, $7. I don't care what I wear when I'm just gonna sweat in something. I do buy top of the line sneakers, I just don't pay top of the line price for it. The sneakers I tend to buy are either Saucony or Asics, but usually a model 1 year behind so that they'll go on sale. I don't want to pay $160, $200 for one pair of shoes. I'll pay $80 for last year's model. Yes, indeed, I'll get all the features. I might not get the color I want, but I'll get all the features, and my feet are in good shape for when I run those 5Ks or just around the neighborhood. I'm about 6'2" and about 190 pounds. Ideally, I'd like for the second number to be an 8, so in the 180s. I'm not far off of that. But I've been about the same size for a long time. And so, just like I can take care of shoes, I can take care of clothes, and I don't tend to buy a whole lot of trendy things. So when I wear something, it's like the car that I have. People don't know how old it is because I'm not buying something extravagantly trendy to the point where it looks dated. It might seem boring or stale, but I guess being upside down in something or in debt is exciting. I don't like that kind of excitement. I like freedom. I don't want to keep chasing the dollar bill. I want to catch enough of them and have them work for me. So that's what I do. And that's why I've been listening to Dave Ramsey. I will say this, being unemployed, I haven't made any additional contributions to my investment portfolio. In fact, after leaving that last full-time job in April, I moved that 401k to my IRAs, my Roth and traditional IRAs. And so all the investment money is in one brokerage account. So it's easier to track the overall balance since it's all in one place. And I'm not making contributions. So I can really see how the market is working. And quite frankly, in the past 3 months, it's gone up more than what I made this year. Now, granted, I didn't work that much this year, but it also comes very close to being more than what I made last year when I did work more of that year than I did this year. So that's a good sign that I'm getting close to replacing my income and can have some choices. A friend asked me last week, what are you going to do when you do retire? And my answer is any number of things where I'm not concerned about what they pay. I can do a lot of things for free. I can volunteer, or I can work a job and not be concerned that I'm not getting top dollar for it if it's something that's low stress that I'm interested in doing. So food, we'll come back to food. We talked a little bit about that, but I want to do a little show and tell. Food, clothing, shelter, transportation, entertainment. Did I cover what I wanted to cover on those others before I actually get up and move? Like I said, this house is paid for. I didn't get it brand new, but it's a 3-year-old house. I got it when it was 10 months old. So the people who had it built stayed for about 10 months and sold it to me. Now, as I mentioned, I have a security clearance. If I really, really wanted to get to work, I guess I could move to Northern Virginia and work in DC, but I don't want to do that. I would also, unless somebody really wanted to pay to get me out of this house. Because I haven't mentioned it, but I'm in an area where there's still quite a few more houses to be built. When this subdivision is done, there'll be about 2,400 houses. And I think at the annual meeting, we were only like 55% done. So there are a lot of new houses going up. If you try to sell your house in an area where they're continuing to build, you have to compete with those houses. And I see quite a few for sale signs not too far from me. And I know those houses are no older than 3 years old. And I just think they might, I would lose my shirt if I did that now. Because I don't think I would recoup what I would need in closing costs to cover the closing costs. So I wonder if people are moving because of a job or because maybe they can't handle the taxes and insurance. A buddy of mine, his insurance was like $2,600, but he got a renewal for over $8,000. So, trying to help him find some options. I mean, that's more than 2x. That's close to 3 times what he was paying before. And that would be a shock to me big time if my insurance went up almost 3x, 3 times what it was before. Let's get into a little bit of the show and tell. All right, let's go to the freezer and see what kind of deals I'm getting. I will say that I'm moving towards being more on a carnivore diet. Not a purist by any means, but definitely trying to get rid of the grains for a while. It's been 3 weeks since I've had grains, with the exception of soy sauce. I learned that soy sauce is made of wheat, salt, water, and that was kind of a bummer, but I haven't used much of it. So that's one area that I missed out on not doing wheat. Let's move to the freezer and the refrigerator. Show some of the deals I'm getting and how I'm dealing with food costs. All right. Well, in here, we'll come back to the top. But down here, this is just, I learned from somebody, actually the ex-wife. Whenever I take meat out of a container, I've learned to not put it immediately in the trash because it'll stink. The next morning, the whole kitchen will stink. So I put it back in the freezer until trash day. That's what this is for. This right here is from a ham I used to have. And once all the ham came off, it left this bone. I'll use that because it's still got some meat on it. I'll use that to maybe season up maybe some green beans or something. But here's a ham I got. You'll see it's 97 cents a pound. That was on sale at Kroger. So even though I just finished this ham over here, I got another one, 97 cents. So it's a spiral ham. This over here, USDA Prime. It's a shoulder roast, you'll see up here. And for USDA Prime meat, it's $4.77 a pound. And I already bought one of those and cut it up into beef chunks and made a beef stew. And I've got a little bit of that left. Somehow I think I just got lucky, walked into the store and they had all these chickens, thin sliced chicken breasts, reduced. I don't know what that comes to per pound, but I couldn't resist, and I'll get on that one day. Over here, well, that's gonna bleep at us. Let's close it and then reopen it. I learned that a lot of folks, after Thanksgiving, after having turkey, they like to have a prime rib roast. And so what I did is I bought a small prime rib and cut it up into individual steaks because it was also $4.77 a pound. And I got 6 steaks out of that. I cut them about an inch deep, an inch thick. And then I've got the ribs left over here. So I'll get that going on at some point. Here we have USDA Prime. And it's sirloin at $5.97. That's not the best price I've seen. I've seen $4.99. Or $4.97, like right here. Same thing, same store, different week. $4.97 a pound. So it's going to be $5.77 starting today. Maybe I'll get another one. And here we got some salmon I got from Sam's Club. And I'm butter rich. I'm also bacon rich. Look at that from Sam's Club. I'm cheese rich. Again, this is carnivore. I lucked out and walked in Sam's and this ground beef was reduced, so bought it. Might turn that into a chili. Now, a lot of people like chicken breasts, boneless chicken breasts, and so do I. But I figured chicken breast on the bone, I've got some good knives. If I really wanted to, I can cut this chicken off the bone. It's 99 cents. The best deal I've seen on chicken breast, boneless chicken breast, is like $2 a pound. So, I can get this and cut it off the bone if I want, or I can cook it on top. It's been in the freezer for a little bit, but I actually made some of this around Thanksgiving time, and it was great. Just put that back. And put those steaks back. And ribs. So that's how I'm handling some things financially: food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and entertainment. On the good news, the job that I had in July for a couple of weeks helping to develop some content for a Splunk course, the guy that got me that gig just wrote me a message saying that we have a statement of work for that work that I was told they wanted to start on November 21st. But it looks like we have a statement of work now. I don't know when that's going to begin. So it looks like the unemployment is going to have a break here for a few weeks on 1 or 2 assignments. We'll see how that goes. The good news is it should be paying. That July gig I had, we took it at a discount to get our foot in the door with this particular client and to get me off the sidelines and have something to do. But the pay this time, since we've established a relationship with them, should be twice what that last pay was, which is closer to what market rate should be for me. So maybe the content of what I'll be talking about here will change from an unemployment perspective to something slightly different, but that's the good news for the day. And I hope you got something out of what we talked about today. Talk to you next time.